Pig here. Welcome to the Beachhead. It's the inaugural episode of Research and Development. I'm going to organize my kind of how-to things into a series that's going to be called Research and Development, kind of themed after the game. I was sitting down the other day and set my game to start playing. As you know, I'm kind of new to Global 40, and I found myself constantly having to leaf through the rule books, and I was like, boy, it would sure be nice to have a set of those siredblood G40 cards. And I have a bunch of shit laying around the house. I said, you know what, let me make my own deck. It was the holidays and I didn't feel like driving up and having them printed and all that. So then I got to thinking, how about some low cost, cheap mods from stuff that everybody has laying around the house for something for like people who don't have a lot of money, or they don't have all the modeling equipment, or young teenagers that don't have access to a lot of stuff, but they can generally find things around the house. They can do simple, cheap modifications to their game pieces. So I challenged myself this weekend just to general stuff that I had around the house. What kind of little mods could I do since I was doing this deck? Okay, and then so first one's kind of a simple one. None of these ideas are mine or anything. I just something I thought of that would be cheap and easy. I made these flight stands out of some classic pieces. Everybody's got all these roundels that are off center laying around. So what you're going to need to do those, everybody's got a bucket of nuts and bolts, loose washers. All I did was got some washers that were about the same size. I put two of them on there so have a good base. Dab of glue, some kind. Put two of those together. Took a roundel, glued it on there, just centered it and popped a hole in it with a drill. Stuck a drill and popped a hole in it. Bamboo skewers, just cut those to length. That's your pole for your stand. Pretty much almost everybody's probably got these in a drawer somewhere. One thing is, when you're doing your roundels, if you have a little bit of a burr there where the drill, if you push your skewer in this way, it'll roll down that little bit of a burr you got. And then if you don't even have any paint, I'm sure your sister or your mother's got some nail polish somewhere you could use. That's the first one. So all you really needed for that was some old washers and some skewers and roundels you got and some pieces. Real quick, easy, cheap. The next thing that I decided to do was on historical board gaming. They have a free download for this task force cards that you can print to help you save game space on your board. So what I did was just get some used cardstock. What I happened to have on hand was a package of this is vellum, 100-pound vellum, which is kind of a thick cardstock. But if you don't have that, you could use plain cardstock, just laminate it together, make it however thick as you wanted to. But I printed on regular cardstock because you can't run this through your printer. And then I laminated the regular cardstock right to this hardboard. Just laminate right on there. You'll need some Super 77 glue. This is good stuff right here. You want to do that somewhere where you can overspray, will get on everything. So I print them all out and laminate them all to this big cardstock that I got. I got a couple on there. And then what you can do, go to the store. This stuff's pretty good right here. It's clear contact, matte transparent stuff. It's like shelf liner. It's adhesive, but it's I used to use it to laminate maps with. It's a matte finish, which is what I wanted for these. I didn't want a glossy finish so it wasn't so slippery. And I just put your cards down, put this on there, spread it out, and just laminate them all at the same time. You can work this a little bit. It's a lot better than the sheet, the harder glossy. That's a lot stiffer than this. Because if you get a bevel in that or you make an error, there's no going back. This is not as sticky, and you can fix a lot of errors with this. And it's cheap. You get all this, I want to say like $8. I mean, you can laminate stuff forever with this stuff. I did a little short camera video when I was doing it, because I couldn't hold my camera and do it at the same time, so I'll patch that in here after I show you this, so you can see how that I did laminate with this stuff. So I cut the cards out. See, it's pretty thick. I got some hardboard in the garage, 1/8" hardboard that I'm going to mount these to, but I didn't want to have too many power tools involved because this is supposed to be for people who don't have a lot of stuff. So I'll probably eventually mount those to the hardboard. And I did try to cut this radius. I have a socket. If you have a socket out of a socket set, you can put the socket on there and take your knife around the socket. Make sure you have a sharp blade. But let me tell you what, there's a lot of cards here, and after you do a few, you probably never get 2 of them the same. I mean, I think it turned out alright, but then I got marks in there from the socket because I had to press down so hard to hold it still. But when I mount them to the hardboard, I can put them on my disc sander and just sand right up to the line. If I'm going to do that, I don't know. But after that, I got these little bumper things laying around here. I did cheat a little bit on this one. I did purchase these. I did have some of these, but I didn't have all the same size. But if you're only making 1 or 2 cards, probably. But you can get these right here. These are the ones that I use. A couple bucks. I put them on the back so that, let me see, when you set it down, you can actually pick it up. It's got an edge where you can grab it. Cheap. And then what else you're going to need to do this is you don't necessarily have to have this. I think got kids going to school constantly, and these giant paper clips. Other people use finishing nails. I just use these. Just take a pair of wire cutters and just right where I cut the bent parts off to make the post holders for the flags for my task force pieces. Let's see if I can zoom in here. I used the classic pieces, kind of distinguish them for the task force. I did tanks and battleships, a couple of each. Yes, there's no Soviets out there. I didn't get those finished. And there's no French, but I don't know how many task forces the French are going to have, so. That's the second mod, real cheap. Like I said, I'll splice the video in where I did laminate these. Get this stuff out of the way. So I did get rid of some junk doing these. And then on to siredblood's deck, G40 deck. This is how I made them. You don't actually need to have what I have, but this is what I had laying around. And let's see if I can zoom back out here. All right. What I used was, I got this packet of glossy photo paper on clearance somewhere for a couple of dollars. It's been laying around here for like 7-8 years, and I used it to make these cards so I can finally throw this thing in the trash. Stuff laying around here all the time. So I printed the cards on the glossy paper, and then the backs. So I printed every other page. I didn't print the backs to save the ink. I didn't want to use that much ink. And I don't have a super stellar printer. It's a $50 HB 2130 inkjet. Nothing special. I just turn it on to photograph, best quality, and printed the cards. Alright, and when they come out, this is how they print out on the glossy paper. Alright, then what you do is I did take my Super 77 glue and glued those down onto a piece of cardstock. You know, it's not real thick, it's just regular cardstock. So the photo paper goes on there, glue it down. And then for the backs, just a plain old piece of black cardstock. It's not super thick, just laminate. So you're going to have a sandwich of your photo paper, cardstock, and this on the back. 3 pieces. Alright. Then I had a bunch of these laying around. Scotch thermal pouches, glossy laminate, a whole package of them that have been laying around. So I decided to use those. These are the ones you have to have the machine for. You can buy the self-adhesive ones, but that self-adhesive stuff with the glossy is real difficult to work with. You could use that matte shelf liner if you wanted to, or if you don't have that, you could use packaging tape. You just have to cut them all up first before you put the tape on them. So this is what the machine looks like. Just turn it on, it heats up, and you run them through. I had to run them through a bunch of times because this is real thick. I run them through a bunch of times just to make sure it's all laminated. So there's the photo paper and the black cardstock and the sandwich in the middle. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. Alright, it's pretty thick. I don't know if you can see quality on the where that shadow is coming from. It's focusing or not. So then what you got to do is cut them all out. Let me tell you what, there's a freaking lot of cards to cut out. Here they are. See if I can zoom in here if it'll do any better. Okay. You see they're pretty rigid. What you're going to have if you're using a utility knife to cut these out is you'll probably get a burr around here. What I did was I just stuck them back in the laminate machine and heated it up, warmed it up, and it just take your finger and it'll roll the edges right back down, just like this, and it'll flatten it out. I mean, I think they turned out halfway decent. They look pretty good. I'm kind of pleased with that. Now, as far as the durability, I just got them, so they don't seem like they're going to come apart. But I'm sure if you got them wet on the edges, it'll probably swell up. But I mean, this is stuff that I had here. Did cost me anything because I already had it all, and I got a complete set. A ton of tech. Ooh. So shout out to Sired. These are really helpful when you're playing the game, so you ain't gotta keep going to the rule book. You got these little reference cards you can go to. Man, my camera is just not working out here. Will not stay there. Sorry about that. Camera issues. So, tell me what you think. One thing I'll tell you this, I probably won't do it this way again because, I mean, I'm kind of meticulous with my stuff, and that's a lot of cutting with a knife. There's a lot of cards here. I didn't even realize how many cards there was until I started cutting them out. But there's no blemishes on them. I was kind of surprised how good they did turn out. I thought they're going to be kind of ill-jacked, but there's just a lot of cards to cut out. And surprisingly, with one, I didn't know how much ink I had. That's why I didn't print the task force cards on photo paper, because I wasn't sure how much ink I had left after I printed these, and I wanted to make sure I had enough ink to finish those task force cards. Another thing I wanted to do was, we did have a stupid Monopoly game around here somewhere, because this game doesn't come with they come with paper cardboard factories and stuff, industrial complexes. But I was thinking about taking the greenhouses out of there and using those for the minor complexes, and you could probably use the red hotels for maybe as a capital city or something. So those are just cheap. Like I said, none of these things are my idea. Just a shout out to everybody who does this kind of stuff. Siredblood, these cards are awesome. I mean, the artwork on them is cool, real cool. And I'll put a link to these in the description. I also put a link to this task force set that's on Historical Board Gaming. It's a free download. Sorry, I can't remember the guy's name who did it, but I'll put it in the description below. Alright, I hope everybody had a happy holiday, a happy new year, and I wish you all the best for the new year to come, and I look forward to seeing some more content from you and getting to know more of you and playing this game. Alright, Roger out.